Welcome back, fam. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Haha, we have another day. Thank y'all. Thank everyone who has responded to my last post. It was actually a success in my eyes because we got over 1,000 views. Woo-hoo! It's a big milestone for me. I'm gonna give myself another applause. Right, right. I'm back another day with my guest, Allie the PR. Say hi.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Blessed. Even though,
Blessed.
our topic this today is going to kind of cover on a little bit about that blessing. This is the threshold. We are trying to make sure that we are seekers of truth. We want to make sure we get a practical view on a lot of things, especially things that have been attacked. And we want to make sure we have a different outlook. If we try to cover all bases as we can, feel free in comments until I get you on live to actually give a different perspective. We try not to attack, but we really want to understand. We're seeking for understanding. What's our first topic that we have for today?
Today we have the war on truth.
The war on truth. Do we have any post notes on it? Do we have kind of notes on there? Ideas?
Yeah, well, we just want to introduce our listeners and viewers to the mission of the show, the Threshold Agenda,
Right.
exploring why truth feels endangered in modern society.
Yeah, people don't really like the truth. They like to hide it. They
Mhm.
really rather. It's like people don't even want you to know who they are. They want you to think. They want you to think that there's some super complex being that can never be found out. And the truth, a lot of times, we're human. We're made in a certain way to where I think that most of us can read and sense and we can feel and we can discern, and these things are just natural for us. But now people want you to doubt all of those, and they don't want you to know because they want you to stay away from the truth because, DMX, the truth hurts. But if you wasn't doing nothing bad, it shouldn't hurt. But hey, I just think that sometimes, and some people nowadays talk about, it's my truth. And, I don't believe the truth don't belong to anybody. I've said it before, and I said it again. You cannot manipulate it. You can't own it. You can't purchase it. It's not something that it's not something that belongs to any one individual. The truth in itself is true, and once it changes, it's no longer the truth. It's something else. We have opinions. You're free to have your own opinion and your own perspective. Welcome it, but I believe everybody have a little bit of truth in them. And if we stop trying to be biased against things and think we know all, just may be able to see the bigger picture by seeking the truth in all things. Right. So it's 2026. Everybody who can see me or hear me, you are in the land of the living, which means you've made it to another year. And in this year, we'd like to see, how about, I spoke about it before and I said, come up with a New Year's resolution for somebody else. And, most people think about what they're going to do for themselves. But what if, let's change that. What if we figured out to try to support something else that's bigger than you and outside of you? Maybe especially something you may not even know what it is. You may not even understand it, but you know that it's still sitting there, it still needs help. What you think?
I agree wholeheartedly. I think, it's natural and it's very common for people to support things that affect them, personally or affects their family members, which is fine. Because you're going to be, your biggest advocate because it's happening to you. But it is going to be a stretch and a challenge for others to reach outside of that bubble and outside of the box and say, you know what, let me learn more about a rare illness that other people are dealing with. Maybe it might be 1,000 people in America that deal with it, but that 1,000 people, do you know how life changing it would be to have others come and stand with them and support them on their needs? And identifying what those needs are is part of the problem. It's like your condition or whatever you're dealing with or the cause that you support is so unique that it isn't. You know what I mean? It's just a lack of knowledge. And it's just a lack of importance to them. And so, just reach out on the other side of the field and try to learn something new.
Right, right. Of course, if you've heard me before, I'm the vice president of We Rank Sickle Cell Corporation, and we run into a lot of people who know nothing about sickle cell, especially, and I'm saying this, especially in the medical field, the people who you would think who actually should know how to deal with, people who have a crisis or deal with somebody who has illnesses. So that's why you go to them. But for something like sickle cell, this is one of the probably many of the disorders and or diseases and ailments that people suffer, that you go to the medical field, they really don't know how to deal with it. And, a lot of our physicians really don't seek higher learning. They get a license and they get a position and they, get a residency and all of those things. But once they get it, they kind of just stay where they are and they don't really seek to keep going. I used to watch this show called House, and we need a house everywhere. House
Mhm.
will seek out. He'll figure out even if you go by some weird means, he'll still seek it out till he find it. And, we really like that people. We need people like that. And they're not only the people in the medical field. It could be you. You could be that very person that could find that answer that most people's looking for and they just couldn't find it. But you, for some reason, got that little nugget that we've been seeking. And if you would just, you know, stop keeping it to yourself but, say something, maybe somebody else will hear you and be like, oh my God, I never thought of that. I'm so glad you said that. And that can lead us to a breakthrough or something.
Mhm.
Right now we're trying to come up with scholarships and things like that to actually encourage people to start seeking for specific to seek out specific skill sets in the medical field so they can actually target ailments, target diseases. We know they have them, but we need more people to actually be interested in that, especially people who are in the groups that actually suffer, like sickle cell. It affects African Americans more than most other races of people. And so we need more African Americans to be in the medical field who would understand us and not think of us as drug seekers or things something like that. I personally don't have sickle cell. I do, but I do say us because we are in the same group. There are other things that you may have that are similar. I have G6PD. Look it up.
He's
I'm
six
not going to try to.
PD.
I tell people just G14 classified.
Very
But I found out as an adult. No physicians knew I had it, but they never said anything. And now that I'm suffering from a couple of complications from it, I have to learn how to deal with it. And I think that anybody else who have it, look it up. And if you have some of these ailments, you could see, post in the comments, and we can have conversation about it. I'll be more focused on it. We can have somebody who may actually be a specialized specialist in it. We have them on the show and help us deal with it and
I met
live
someone
better.
else with G6PD, just random in conversation.
Really.
Yeah. And I don't even know how we got on the topic, but he was like, yeah, I got this, thing he found out in the military, which is how you found out if I'm not mistaken. But
Mhm.
the military, they do thorough checks. So if you're in the
Yeah.
military, they know what you got going on, but even then it's still lacking in information. How do I deal with it? What is it really? Just because I get like a little, you know, color, notification saying something's going on with you, you get more breaks or whatever.
Yeah, I think I saw it the whole time, but I didn't know what I was looking at in my
Yeah.
records
You're
because
like,
in the military, you tote your records a lot of times, especially in basic training, and I just didn't know what I was looking at, and the crazy thing is I've just found out, recently, not today, that a lot of physicians and in the whole doctors and things like that, some of the things they're actually told not to say. It's like, and they don't offer it.
not
You have to,
recommended.
yeah,
Hmm.
it's not recommended. So you have to ask specifically for it. And just like also to know what your status is, you have to ask what this, even if they already know, you still have to ask them for it and get a test if you want a record of it. Just like your records, they don't just give them to
Hmm.
you. You have to ask for them. Because that's too much information. They really don't want it. Rather you not look at it, but you might find something out in there that they was just hoping it just bypass. Just let it go. You're alive, right? You're fine, right?
Come back when there's an issue, and you
Right.
do, and then you'd be like, well, if I would have known, I would have been able to, do preventative, techniques or eat certain types of foods that don't aggravate the condition that I have, or
Right.
anything.
Yeah. So we're
So
talking about the doing something for somebody. That's why we do a lot of food drives. We do a lot of donation of our time and energy. And it's not just out in the field, it can be in the church. Some of you love to do it in the church. As long as it's something bigger than you, we want to focus on things like that. If think about it, if everybody was doing that, it wouldn't be too many people left out because everybody's doing it. And that means you're going to get covered by somebody else. And that's where that reciprocity starts to come in. You're doing something for somebody and they're also doing something for you. And it's not necessarily an obligation. It is a familiarity and it's what you feel like that's what you just do And once it becomes normal and it becomes a habit, and nobody would feel like I don't owe you anything. We give all the time. So if anything, there's a surplus, you know. I think there's a lot of things that needs to be done. You know, like shoot, a lot of people are getting now. The problem is a lot of people getting stuff and they're becoming a little too active in certain fields. I'm not gonna really expound on that right now, but with the whole immigration things, hey, like I give the rules to the girls. Sometimes you need to stay in your lane and go home. If
Mhm.
you are not educated enough to know what's exactly going on and what you're doing, stay in your lane and go home. But first, you need to get educated, learn about what it is that you can do, and don't put your family at risk. Don't put you by putting yourself at risk if you don't do something. Make sure you stay within your boundaries and give what you can, but don't go out there and think you're gonna be a hero. Sometimes you put yourself in a very dangerous position, and you don't want that kind of smoke because it's not just gonna
Yeah,
follow you
already.
home; it's gonna come
Mhm.
back and affect your family. We have to kind of, be mindful. We can't be scared either. We got to, get out there and actually be a part of be a part of something else bigger than ourselves.
Getting back to the biblical side of things, Jesus, that was his whole purpose. He wasn't here to grow old, and give us everything that he could learn in the short 33 years he lived here. So if you're a Christian, you understand that, you standing up for your beliefs and understanding the truth that God created for this world, because he was the creator, and so we have to do things in accordance with his will. He didn't have all the time to do that. Oh, I can do that tomorrow, I can do that later. He had a sense of urgency, and we have to operate the same way. So he got up and he walked and he did what he had to do. He didn't wait on a ride. He didn't wait on a camel. He didn't wait on, a certain type of food because it was in bloom. I mean, he got mad at the fig tree
Yeah, you
because it was
got
like, come on now.
that's
But I mean,
bad.
things happen in the time that it was supposed to happen, and we can't, we do have to exercise, understanding of the best time for that. Sometimes it's not when we want it to be.
Well, when you start doing that, you start blocking your blessings, and
Hmm.
that's something you don't want to do. You want to keep putting yourselves in a position to receive blessings. Now, however, blessings cannot all best for I say this is my opinion. Don't take this as scripture. It is not. It is my opinion. I don't think all blessings come from God. Some people are like, all blessings. Yeah, I think the thing can, but here's what I mean. I believe that there are times when the enemy can make sure you feel good, make sure that you, because blessings basically to give you something that makes you, something that you feel like you gain, that makes you happy, things like that. And hey, if somebody keep giving you this thing that you think is good, and you never focus on God at all because you think He's already blessing you, but if you if you never go back and make sure you worship, you bring the worship back to God, reciprocate that because you bless Him when you lift up His name, that thing. So I believe you can be blinded by because you have these material things, thinking you're being blessed. I hear a lot of people say, I'm blessed and highly favored, and they be doing a lot of stuff that is definitely outside the will of God, and they don't have a relationship with God Himself. They just know the word. They know the word God. I know how to say
Hmm.
the word God. I know that Jesus exists. Well, the devils do too. They know He exists too, but they're not doing anything according to His will. And when you do things, you can actually block. You start to block the actual blessings because you are content with with these few things that you got, and you thought you was doing good. Man, I'm good. Now you don't know, man. I got this girl, man. She like me. It's like, man, you don't even know. That's a succubus. And you
That's your
didn't even
favorite word.
realize, you didn't even realize that was a succubus coming in. She gonna take everything you got, man, soul and all. You better be careful.
But you can still get the blessing through the succubus too.
Yeah, because she can make you feel good. You
Well, I'm
know,
just saying, once you recognize what the succubus is, you'll recognize other succubuses, succubi.
so I think there's a word. There's probably a succubi.
So you'll recognize it in the future, and that'll be your lesson, because it's like, they got me once. Okay, I won't get God again.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's the blessing out of it. Blessing has so many different forms. It's not just the simple good fortune. Oh, I'm blessed. That's money. I got good things. You got to get through the trials too. And
yeah.
so the blessing is getting that connection with God and that
Right,
peace that He gives you.
right.
That's the blessing.
So by saying that, that means that all blessings aren't meant to They're not direct. They're not meant. All blessings aren't meant to just make you feel good. Some of them are for the lesson.
Not transactional. Yep.
They're
Hmm.
actually for your growth. And anything that makes you grow is pressure. Is doesn't feel good. The things that causes us to grow does not feel good. It's pressure. It's darkness. It's heat. It's all of these things that make us mold us into something that changes us. It never feels good. The things that feels good is the light touches. I get to rest and relax, and then you start getting fat, and then you
Wait a
get
minute.
lazy, and your bones you ache, and then your muscles atrophy, and you're like, you're supposed to keep moving. You wasn't supposed to stop. You need to move. Come on. But it hurts. I know it's gonna hurt even more now because you're gonna got stiff. So yeah, I think we need to. I'm kind of getting off subject. We need to get. Don't block your blessings. Actually, make sure you stay mindful of what you're doing and keep your mindset on being moving in good faith. And I think you'll make it. Even if it gets hard, I think it'll work out.
And don't allow the vessel to allow you to listen. We have to listen, even to people that we don't agree with, which is hard.
That's hard. There's
'Cause
been
we-
plenty of people who I could not hear. I couldn't hear you because of something you did or whatever, and I felt slighted, or I had an attitude, or I had a bias against you. And a lot of the times you're paying attention to the vessel, or if you think about it, you're paying attention to the pencil and not the author who sent the pencil to write the message for you. So we need to focus on the author, and we know the author of all things, especially righteous things.
Mhm.
He's not the author of confusion, but he's the author of creation. And you want your increase, that's who you go to. He built you, he created you. So I think focus on the message. Focus on the author and the message, not the vessel. Sometimes it doesn't come in the proper package. I said it before. I think I said on my last post. Sometimes it's the sinner can be the best person to tell you about the sin versus the saint. It's kind of hard to tell you about drugs if I never did it. I can't tell you what you go through. I can't tell you what it feels like for withdrawals. I can't relate to you. But that person who's an addict, that's probably the best person to tell you all about drugs and let you realize and they can articulate it better because they actually lived through it. So it's not about the person. So sometimes the package may come as a crackhead, and that's the vessel. But we know too many times. Too many times. There's videos and there's evidence. All of it. You probably ran into them yourself. Some of the most word filled people are winos. They are
Yeah, truth
drunk
serum.
or they're
Mhm.
on something, but they will come
That's
with
what they
some
call it.
stuff.
Truth
Is that what it
serum.
calls? Is a truth? RUF?
Mm,
Well,
truth
they
serum.
will come out with. It's like, man, that was deep. You never thought they had it in them. It's like, yeah, they just I hear.
They
What you
fell
call
on
them,
hard
lush?
times.
You call
Yeah,
them
a
you
lush.
call them a lush? Yeah, yeah. Well, uh, speaking of doing things bigger than you and not blocking your blessings, I started thinking about some. For everything we do, we have wages. I spoke about it before, but for everything we do, we have wages. Right now is a big push, especially in the Black community, to try to teach us how to invest better. The thing I've noticed that there's a little bit of shortcoming in is what we're being told to invest in. The main things we're told to be investing is usually monetary. It's trying to put your LLC and get your trust, and I'm not against that. I'm not that's those are good.
Yeah, those are steps.
But what I'm saying is we're usually going off of pieces and not completion. So I was like, their wages for everything spiritually. We invest in worldly things and try to create what we think is normal to teach, but we teach our children these things, but we'll end up missing. And I don't want people to miss is we need to teach them every aspect of life, to invest in every aspect of life. You need to teach them about emotional wealth. You need to teach them about physical wealth. You need to teach them about mental wealth.
Hmm.
We need to teach them about, and we usually call it legacy. There's a conversation about, men usually want to have children for a legacy. And there was an argument on one post, and one woman, she was angry because she think that it's when a man says they want a legacy, that it only means children. It's like, no. I started to think about what a legacy is. If you have a relationship, which is why it's so important to be married before you have children, and we're missing it. It's like we think we can do okay with it, but I think we miss this key ingredient. You are who you are. If I know how to communicate with you and I can do it well, and you agree, and you can be one with me, meaning we complement each other. The child is both you and I. So when I talk to the child, the that child has a part of you. So I can talk to you and the child too. And I can talk to myself and the child too. So I should be able to communicate with that child as long as I knew I could communicate with the mother. But a lot of us, we just get with somebody, we don't really know how to communicate with them. And so man, this child is just doing all the, you didn't know how to talk to mama.
I don't
And the
want to.
mama didn't know how to talk to you, and y'all arguing, y'all fussing, man. Relationships are hard. It was like that probably wasn't the one for you. And I'm not trying to get on another track, but what I'm saying is the communication to where, and also if I know I can invest, if I know I can receive, I'm physically well, then I can talk to my child, and hopefully they should have a proclivity to receive me and talking to them, and they can receive it to be physically well. If I know I'm good with finances, which is when when I met my wife, one of us at least needs to be good with finances because we hope we pass that down. And you want to teach them, if you can do it here, then they can do it. Except you can give them the knowledge at 5, 6, and 7 instead of waiting
Cultivate.
till you were 40.
Mhm.
So I started thinking, well, what would be an example of emotional wealth? And I think peace. We talk about it only when we talking about, well, a woman needs to bring a man peace. Yes, that's true. But if she did it when she got married, and that's one of the qualities, we need to teach our children to also invest in peace, not just be playing around with toys all day, ever, forever and ever.
Put that
We
tablet
need to
down.
teach them to invest in peace. Yes, put that tablet down. Give your brain a rest. Actually breathe and look out and pay attention to what's going around your surroundings. Be quiet sometimes. Get away from the TV.
Banana whack.
But seriously? You don't see one yellow vehicle up in this Joker. You talking about banana wag out of the blue. And that's how it happens in the conversation. You be sitting in the car, banana wag. What? Oh, shoot. I missed it. Where was it? It's over there. Yeah. But you want to invest in emotional wealth, physical wealth. You want them to eat better food, to hydrate. You want to tell them how to, uh, be kind, do a kind of sustainable activity. They don't have to be, uh, track and field stars. Everybody we focus in, black community, you got to play basketball, football. No, you can actually just be active outside. What if all of a sudden this person likes to go hiking? This person likes to do, archery. Something that they can do that can get outside, and you have to walk, you have to trek, you got to move around. I mean, get out there and play hopscotch. When we was kids, we played little things, we played little games. That's why a lot of us went fat. We did everything outside. It was hard for us to get us to come inside. It was hard for us to get us. The light, that was the only thing that made it to where we come back inside that house.
Dinner time.
Sometimes you're not even dinner because we eat food over somebody else's house.
That
We
part.
good, right? We want to teach them how to focus on spiritual wealth, sorry. And that I call that faith. So how do you cultivate or invest in your spiritual wealth, which is faith? You read the word of God for understanding. Not just to read words, but you read it for understanding, or study and show thyself approved, right? You study the word with others. You fellowship with your other like-minded people. Some people that's not like-minded, because you may teach them something. You may lead them to the word of God just because you're studying it and they studying with you, right? They may have an understanding they never thought they would have. And you live a Christ-like life so other people can see it, and through prayer and fasting. A lot of people really don't like to do that last part. That fasting is hard for a lot of people, but these are the things that needs to be done to strengthen your spiritual being. And sometimes you have to bring your flesh under subjection and strengthen your spiritual being so you can hear, and so you can move, and so you can come to a better understanding of what the will of God is in your life and move accordingly. If you're too weak spiritually, it's kind of hard to do the work.
I have a story.
Story time, story time.
I can't count the years, but back in the day, not even too long ago, I had a experience of working manual labor. I said I was done at the time. I said I was tired of working in a mentally challenging position. I was tired of, working for people that just wanted to pick my brain all day. I was mentally exhausted, so to speak. So I said, I'm going to do a manual labor job. I'm going to go do something physically with my body so that I don't have to, think so much. I just want to go to work and come home and not think about work and take it home.
On purpose?
On purpose, because I was mentally exhausted. So I ended up working for Volkswagen, or I don't even know if we can say it, but whatever, Volkswagen. I just won't say where it was.
Gotcha.
But I worked for Volkswagen. And at the time when I got hired, they said, we're going to be doing swing shifts and all those good things. Are you okay with working night shift or day shift? And I was like, okay. I'm thinking they're going to do day shift or night shift, not both. So
you work both?
I worked both. We worked even and odd weeks. So even days, we worked a certain schedule. We worked like 4 days during the daytime. Then we take a couple days off, and then it'll be night shift. They called us industrial athletes.
Industrial athletes.
That's what they called us, and that's what the training was geared for. My shift started at 5 a.m., so I had to be to work. I had to be to work at 5 a.m. Sometimes I would have to walk maybe a mile, 2 miles just to get to the building out of the parking lot. It's how many employees? It was, hundreds, if not maybe 1,000, but hundreds of employees all coming to the same plant. So we had to get to the building, get to our workstations. Then we worked out. We changed clothes because we had uniforms. We changed clothes. We worked out together, meaning we had an instructor and we did physical exercises. Okay. And then we went to the showers, put on our work uniforms, and started about 7 o'clock. That's when we started our actual jobs.
How long? An hour, 2 hours?
Yeah.
An hour or two of working out?
Yeah.
And then you start your work.
Then you start your actual job.
The job.
So whatever department you go to your respective departments. First they put me in body shop, which is, more heavy lifting, things like that, machinery. But then they're like, you know what? We're going to put you in quality. I was like, okay. Because I heard, people be talking on break time, but everybody took break at the same time. There was a bell. I mean, it was everything was uniform.
Y'all were guinea pigs.
Exactly. That's what I felt. I was like, I've lasted all of 3 months. I will tell y'all.
You said Volkswagen. That's German.
Yes,
You seen X-Men First Class? They were trying to find them their next Magneto or something. They were trying to find another mutant.
Listen,
they were trying to build mutants.
I felt like a mutant.
Were
in steel-toe boots.
You were in a testing facility for mutants.
Till 5 p.m.
I'm going to tell you.
So you're there all day. You're there all day.
Till 5.
Yeah.
Every day.
Every day. Within your schedule. You're 4 days on, 4 days off. Sometimes you do 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sometimes you do 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. That night shift, boy, let me tell you. But I can tell you one thing that's still with me now. Whenever I can use both hands now, because they did exercises and we did brain training and things. I can fold a t-shirt in 2 seconds. I don't know how I do it. It's in there now, and you have to train.
You're a mutant.
Hey,
you're a mutant.
Y'all want to know how Allison
on folded t-shirts?
How did Allie the PR get to be so efficient at times? Volkswagen got me right together.
So, what would you say they were? What would you say they were trying to invest in with putting you through that? What did they create?
They created an industrial athlete. I felt like I could stand for a long period of time. I could, I was hurting, but that's because I had to get in shape.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, you can't do nothing if you're out of shape.
Did you feel like any of it was getting easier?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it got to be routine. This was the only job up until that point that I was actually on time for, because you got fired if you didn't. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I was like, you know what? It was me proving to myself that I could do it. And I did it for 3 months. I was ready to go. I found something better, but I appreciated that experience. That was the blessing in it. Was I now know I can.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody's like, "Oh, I can't work. I can't do this. I can't work night shift, or I can't work day shift." Most of the time, it's because of outside external forces. But internally, I can do all those things. I can work any shift. I can pretty much do any job that you want me to do.
I heard that.
But once again, it didn't pay what it needed to pay.
So you think everybody needed that?
Everybody needs to go through some kind of conditional training. whenever, even
But think a
whenever.
lot of people, that's what the military be doing, and
Mhm.
you go through this, and that's why they like to hire people in the military because they know they have a discipline about them. They have at least a certain level of discipline about 'em, especially if you got to have the DD 214 because
Mhm.
they need to know you was honorably discharged. But if you weren't, they're like, man, you probably couldn't take it, so I don't want to hire you. But people don't like it sometimes, but veterans get a little bit of put on top of the list because they know that they already know they have some sort of discipline about them.
You can finish something too.
Right.
Once you get out of that training, I mean, once you're out on the floor and you may get promoted, and you're there for a period of time. You're not in, training anymore after a month or two, whatever the 90-day period, whatever period it was that you did these things. And I'm sure they changed it now, but at the time we were the guinea pigs. When you got out of it, you were like, okay, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Now, you say you think we should all have it.
Hmm.
And a lot of people, when they get it, they don't like it while they're in it. But for the most part, like as far as the military is concerned, people choose to go knowing that they're going to go through this. Yet they will dodge the will of God becoming a Christian. When you do the same thing, you have to go through the process and he molds you. Iron sharpens iron. He puts you through a test. It becomes easier for you to do it. You find out that you become stronger through the trials, not sitting there waiting. You're putting forth the work and you become a better person. And then people see it, which means they start to recognize the God in you. So they're going to come to you looking to hire you to pray for them, to hire you to lay hands on them, to hire you to be close to them because they feel like they see the God in you, and they don't see you. So this is the thing that we can see in that type of training. When you go through the training, anything, you go to football, you got to go to camp. You not on the team yet. You're at camp. You gonna run, you gonna throw up, you gonna cramp, you gonna hurt. You ain't getting that much sleep. And you voluntarily did it because you saw you saw the check in the NFL or whatever. You were now college. You saw that
Hmm.
money. So you said, yeah, I'm gonna go through, I can make it. You never thought that, man, I don't want nobody to know I'm trying to do this. I might not get no, this or that if I become that, if I start I ain't ready for that kind of lifestyle. But people will run to be an artist. You gotta have artist development. That's why a lot of them come through and they fail. No artist development whatsoever. They think if I could just do a MySpace track, because we still a few. If you think about the number of them, hundreds and thousands of them fell by the wayside, or even died because they talked too much in their own records. But you didn't go through artist development. You had no discipline about it. We got a lot of people that go through anything. You want to be a chef. You like cooking. You got to go to culinary school. You need to learn a discipline.
Philippians 4:13.
It is with the word. He is with their word.
Philippians 4:13, my mother's favorite scripture.
Okay.
Rest in peace, Pastor James. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. All things through him that can give me strength, through Christ that gives me strength.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get that strength just you wake up and you be like, you know what, I'm finna go tackle the world today. You're not gonna be able to do that overnight.
How many people had a prayer? How many of y'all had a prayer and you said, God, give me the strength for blah, blah, blah. Okay. He's not going to all of a sudden buff up your muscles. Okay. Oh, before you get the strength, okay, you want to get the strength. Well, here, you got to do these types of exercises. You got to stretch. You got to do this. This is how you become strong. I'm going to take you through it. I'm your trainer.
And I'm gonna humble you.
You going to do it? Well, man, this is too, I thought you said you want to get strong. You can't, I don't just make you strong. I put you in a situation to where you build up strength. That way the strength is yours. But that's the same concept as a person who, would you rather somebody give you $1 million to teach you how to make it? I can give you the $1 million, but you're going to be broke because you broke minded. I haven't fixed your mind yet. When you become a millionaire in your mind and in your spirit, you can make that $1 million. And if you lost it, you can make it again because you are a millionaire in your spirit. If you are godly or if you are righteous in your spirit, it's not about whether I call you. In my last podcast and the last one, I talked about the titles. I don't care what you call yourself. It's about when you become that, you don't have to tell me. I will recognize it because that's all I'm going to think about you. I'm like, man, don't go over there. That's a king over there. Don't go over there. Don't go tiptoeing and talking that funky stuff. You come over here, slide with that. Don't you sass me. You don't want to talk to him crazy, man. That dude's about his business. Don't go over there talking crazy. That's a king over there. You don't go over there talking to that man of God. He gonna slap you with that word. I'm not. He ain't gonna think twice about it. You sure you want to go over there playing around? Okay, you've been warned.
You gonna find out.
Yep. So yeah, that those are the investments is something I'm blessed today. I got a chance to experience, my daughter read the scripture in front of the church, and it might some people might like be like, and all kinds of, I used to hate it when I was growing up to have children forced to go up in front of the church. I hated it. Don't want me to sing, but you know what?
She loved it.
She wanted it. She wanted and she loved it. And I was telling her a little couple of tips, whether she knew it or not. I'm trying to like, look, go up there and look him in the eye. Don't, rehearse it before you go up there. Trust me, you're going to impress. Trust me when I tell you, don't think you're just going to read the paper when you get there. Read it before you get there. Make it part of you. Put it in your spirit. Trust me, when you get up there, talk to them. Articulate yourself. Don't be scared. Speak up. Trust me, it will be okay. She's already in the choir. She sings. So she's getting over her nervousness and she's becoming more bold. And now I call her minister.
Okay.
I gave her time like, go ahead, minister. She be one. Can I pray with you? What?
Yeah.
She'll just call me out of the blue. She's 10 years old. Can I pray with you, Daddy? You sure can.
Okay, let's go.
Come on. What you gonna pray with me? Is it about a particular thing? You just want to pray? Okay, look, we're gonna do it then. I don't want you to get discouraged about you ask somebody to pray and you think they're gonna shut you down or what. I don't feel like no, just do that. Something. No, pray right now. Come on. I don't know if I'm gonna need it later. Go ahead and give and put a little deposit in my account. Everybody know who grew up, especially you back in the day. You as old as I am. You had them grandmas and whoever was praying for you, praying over you all the time. That's an investment. That's investment, spiritual investment. Making sure that you understand and you want to carry it forward. You want a legacy. Bring up children who also know how to invest.
Train them from infancy.
And make sure they know how to handle themselves in all these aspects. Emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally. Make sure they got all of the goods. Make sure they got all of the accounts built up. Come on, and then because you ever know when that day is gonna come where God calls you home and you can't tell them anything else, and now they have the world to deal with. How are they gonna manage? Did you make sure that they were set? I hear a lot of people talking about, man, I got my money. I'm gonna make sure. Look, I know. I'm gonna make sure I spend everything. I'm at that time. I done did all the work. I'm spending all my money. I ain't leaving nothing to these people. I'm like, you have children. Oh, Bill Gates, I'm just going to give them $5 million a piece. $5 million? You hundreds of billions. You gave them $5 million? Yeah, but they know how to invest. Yeah, but you can't take it with you regardless. Who is it going to go to? It's going to go to some foundation where somebody else can all of a sudden become a billionaire just because this house I'm buying right now, whether I go now or in 50 years, it's still going to go to somebody else. You get your usage out of it, so you did live. But why don't you make sure your daughter or your child, your son or sons or daughters, or even if you have adopted children, kinfolk, whoever, why don't you make sure that they can keep building on the whole, legacy of your name? Why don't you make sure they can keep building on the coffers, filling up the coffers of whatever we can? And I'm not just talking about money. I'm still going back on the spiritual stuff. I've been over too many houses where I felt the presence. They haven't said anything to me. But when I walked in the house, you felt peace just sit on you. Too many people, when they came in my housewarming, I've only been here for a couple of weeks. My bishop came in here, fell asleep in my doggone office.
Because it was
He's supposed to be praying over my house. This man came in there and I found him and I'm like, what you doing in here? He's like, oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute, you went to sleep? Yeah, it's a little peaceful over here. I know. That's why I bought it. Something was already, whatever. Whether it came with me, it was already here. You invest in it, you can feel it. Gotta invest. We gotta invest. We gotta invest. We gotta make sure that we're set. We can't wait on somebody else to do it. It gotta be bigger than you. It's gotta be something else that's bigger than you, because regardless of what you say, if it stops with you, then you're done. Then it's over. What was the point in even trying to have what you would call a life if it's just going to be something that it stops with you here? What was the point? It needs to be something you can pass on. Some people spend a whole lifetime looking for the fountain of youth back in the day. They want to be immortal. To me, this is how you be immortal. When you pass down, you're passing down your essence down to your children. And if you pass down your thoughts, you pass down the way you did things, you already passed down your name. You pass down another vessel that understands that the spirit of the Lord is better than another kind of spirit. You know what I'm saying? You pass down the fact that they need to understand the importance of peace. They need to understand the importance of good health and faith, of knowledge. That was the mental investment. Learn what you can. Seek it. Don't just think it comes to you. You have to seek knowledge.
Seek first the kingdom, and all things will be added unto you.
There you go. There you go. Come on, Minister.
Right.
Minister PR.
Who?
Minister PR.
That's all it is.
Right?
PR is just my by day, therapist by night.
Well, I don't want to keep going on this, harping on this too long. What else you got for you? If we want to throw this.
I think we touched a lot, and I think that is going to set us up for the next couple of episodes. We want y'all to tune back in. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the Threshold Agenda. There's tons of information, tons of things that you could take with you and think about. We want you to actually, what he said, digest to the grizzle.
He said chew on it to the
chew
grizzle.
on it.
Yeah, chew on it.
These are not things where it's all like, okay, that's a good word, and then you keep going. You have to enact it. You have to put it in action. We're trying to get you to do something, that'll help you. Everything that we talk about is from a place of experience and from a place of, we want to be better. And I think that's one of your legacy, quotes is to, don't be sorry, be better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we do it, is that we, even if we can't physically be in the room with you, you're listening to this podcast right now. You're listening to our voices and you're thinking about, okay, I agree with that. I don't agree with that. And then if you don't agree with something, or vice versa, if you do agree, comment, say something, because that gives us fuel, to keep going and keep sharing and spreading the news, good news.
Right. And, I want to give a bit of, to those who may not know or understand about the fasting thing. I'm not going to get too deep. That's going to be another post.
I need all that.
But here's one of the benefits and how you can, one thing you can do that's kind of like a part of fasting, but you're not officially doing it. But once you get in practice, it'll work. Trust me. If you want to clear your mind and get your mind to where by default, even when you're in your idle times, the thoughts that cross your mind are about God, here's how you do it. This is why fasting is so important. Fasting, you cut out all things that are anti-God. Your full focus is about his word. Either you're reading his scripture, or you're communicating with him through prayer, or most of the time you're going to rest. That's the only three things. You're cutting out and you're weakening the flesh, because the flesh don't want to do any of those things. Your spirit, man, is what you're going to have that's going to get strengthened. And when you keep doing things like that, like here's an example of one thing you can do. Whatever music you listen to, stop listening to. If you go through, here's how you fill a cup. You don't have to actually empty it. You just overflow with one thing. And after a while, that cup will only contain that one thing, even though you never emptied it at all. Whatever music you listen to, if it is not gospel, and when I say gospel, I mean music that actually contains scripture in it, or it actually contains, when you sing it, you lift up the name of God.
Positivity.
If you listen to it, not just positive, it must say those words. It needs to lift up the name of God. It needs to have scripture in it. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about that particular type of gospel music. Most of the time you got to go back to the choir, mass choirs and things like that. Even if you don't like it, it don't matter. What you're doing is you're resetting. You're filling up, you're overflowing your cup, whatever it's full of. Now it's getting a big dosage of nothing but things about God. After a while, even when you wake up, the first thought is going to come is that song about scripture, that song about God, which means the first thought when you wake up is lifting up the name of God. Your first thought is about what a mighty God we serve. That's going to be your first thought. And when you be quiet in the world, that thought, when you stop thinking about all these things that you have to do on a daily basis, your idle thoughts are going to become that song. That's one of the things you can do and why it's so important to fast, because it helps strengthen you and get you to where your thoughts you don't have to struggle to get your thoughts on God, because you've already been you already been
Condition.
reprogramming
Yeah.
yourself and conditioning, which is investing, which is part of the stress and the things you go through as far as practice. You condition yourself, you let him mold you, and then your mind become very easy to where you can hear him, because it's not crowded with a bunch of all that other nonsense. That's just one of the ways. But I gave you that challenge. If you want to try to help yourself, especially new Christians, and you find yourself hard to do, you have to at least cut out one thing. They tell you that in diets. Don't try to cut out everything. You cut out one thing and let it be that one thing. You focus on that one thing. Whether it's cold turkey, you no matter, cut it out and make sure it's completely gone to where you no longer even have the urge to listen to the other stuff. That's my last thought on the Threshold Agenda. I thank you all for joining us. I hope you have a blessed day. Be blessed.